This video is sponsored by Enlisted. Time to relax and watch someone else do the investigating. Howard, play the latest episode of Mystery Morsels.
Error. Keyword not detected.
Please?
When nature gives onlookers a cringeworthy surprise, or when the desert comes alive in the most unexpected ways, discover the city that couldn't stand an hour's downpour, the woman with a mind-boggling tenant, and the watery abyss that held the key to a chilling cold case. All these and more, tonight on Mystery Morsels. A video posted on TikTok showing a bear with white strands protruding from its behind is going viral, with viewers shocked at the caption. A tapeworm living inside a bear can reach lengths of 30 feet or more. While the revelation of the parasites so openly trailing behind the bear might look odd to some of our viewers, it turns out that these tapeworm infestations are actually pretty common in the Alaskan bear habitat.
Okay, wow, that's grisly.
Especially noticeable in trail cam footage showing the worms poking out from the rear side of both black and grizzly bears. So how exactly do the parasites get into the bears?
Howard, pause.
Why?
He asked a question. I want to think about my answer.
Unpausing.
Tapeworm eggs start their life cycle in the water, released from an infected bear. Small crustaceans consume these eggs, starting the infection process. When these crustaceans become a meal for salmon, they also become carriers of the tapeworm larva. And when bears eat the infected salmon in a hearty feast, they allow the tapeworm larva to grow into adulthood inside them. The peculiar food chain continues when the worms become big enough to leave the bear, expelling themselves from the rear end of the digestive tract, and the eggs eventually find themselves back in the water. Despite the slight discomfort the tapeworms might cause, most bears are able to maintain their daily activities without much hindrance. So can humans be affected by these parasites?
Howard, pause.
The TV can't hear you.
Just wanted to mentally prepare myself for the new information.
Unpausing.
We aren't exactly spared from these sneaky invaders. A growing fondness for sushi and salmon sashimi has seen an increase in human tapeworm cases, turning a delightful meal into a very unpleasant surprise. Fish needs to be either cooked properly or frozen below -4 degrees Fahrenheit or -20 degrees Celsius for 7 days to be safe from tapeworm parasites.
Talk about giving tapeworms the cold shoulder.
It seems like surprise guests are nature's specialty. Burning Man's wildness peaked when Mother Nature introduced 70,000 attendees to unexpected visitors, three-eyed dinosaur shrimps.
Enlisted is a multiplayer shooter set in World War II.
Ooh, an ad.
With a strong focus on historical authenticity with period-accurate uniforms, vehicles, equipment, and locations, you get to battle with your squad in historical campaigns. The gameplay is always dynamic and throws the player in the middle of action. And as the commander in squads mode, you get to control every individual soldier who has their own set of skills and inventory. So one of the best things in the game is to equip and send them off to the battleground based on their abilities. What's exciting is that each campaign you go on includes unique maps, troop types, weapons, and vehicles to unlock. And Enlisted regularly comes up with new campaigns to battle in. Play Enlisted for free on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. It's even available on PS4 and Xbox One. You can play the game with all your friends, regardless of the platform you're on, thanks to cross-platform support. No purchase necessary. Click the link in the description box below to download the game. Enlisted is giving a free bonus for registering by following our link. 3 days of premium time and several orders for troops and weapons. Play for free today.
Copious amounts of rainfall turned the Nevada desert into a stage of mud, stranding everyone, with organizers warning attendees not to leave the area, and even four-wheel drives found themselves struggling. What really stole the spotlight though wasn't the giant sculptures or celebrities in attendance. The desert floor transformed into a bustling stage, as extremophiles, creatures adept at surviving the harshest conditions, woke up from their years or even decades-long slumber, reviving with enough rainwater. This shrimp is called a triops, also called dinosaur shrimp, that look like a miniature horseshoe crab. The third eye lets them detect changes in light. We also saw brine shrimp, which are also commonly known as sea monkeys, the tiny aquatic pets you can purchase as a powder and activate with water. So how do these animals make it visit to Burning Man. The Black Rock area, home to the famous Burning Man festival, is actually a lake bed once covered by a prehistoric lake, nurturing a thriving ecosystem. Even as millennia passed and the waters receded, these remarkable creatures adapted, laying dormant in the sediment with their ability of tolerating drought conditions. Here's how it works. The eggs wait for enough water to return so that they can hatch. With the amount of rainfall the desert receives, the puddles of water that form are the perfect environment to finally hatch and reach adulthood in about 8 days, and hatch a new batch of eggs that can lay dormant for 20 to 27 years. Burning Man wasn't the only place that got waterlogged. Life in New York City was totally disrupted when record-breaking torrential downpours up to 8 inches caused flash floods. Many of the subway systems, streets and highways were affected by the flood. Videos posted on social media show water pouring into stations, people wading through knee-high water in streets, and people stuck in their homes. Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency across New York City, Long Island, and the Hudson Valley, warning people to never attempt to travel on flooded roads. Central Park also got its fair share of rain. A sea lion from the Central Park Zoo called Sally briefly escaped her enclosure when the water rose high enough, allowing her to swim out of the exhibit and explore the flooded surroundings of the zoo plaza under the careful watch of the staff to make sure she was kept safe, before returning to her enclosure with 2 other sea lions. Parts of Brooklyn saw more than 7.25 inches in a single hour, while John F. Kennedy Airport recorded 8 inches, the rainiest day since records began in 1948. Earlier this month, Hong Kong flooded with an unprecedented 6 inches of rain pouring down between 11 p.m. and midnight, the highest hourly downpour since their records began in 1884. Eerie videos circulating online showed metro platforms transformed into cascading waterfalls, submerged cars and people being swept away, while the normally busy streets between skyscrapers turned into a network of rivers. To give some context on how much rain both New York and Hong Kong had to endure, Hurricane Katrina had rainfall slightly above 1 inch per hour.
Oh, wait, Howard, pause. 1 inch per hour? How much rain did he say fell in Hong Kong and New York?
6 and 7 inches per hour, respectively.
My goodness! If my calculations are correct, that's a lot more.
The human calculator, everyone.
Speaking of unprecedented happenings, a neurosurgeon in Australia pulled a living, wriggling worm from a woman's brain, marking the first documented case in history. But how did it get there? The 64-year-old patient had been suffering from a series of mysterious symptoms that left doctors baffled for weeks. First, she had persistent abdominal pain and diarrhea. Then she started getting night sweats and a dry cough.
Sounds horrible.
When doctors found lesions on her lungs, liver, and spleen, things started to look like a bad infection. However, when tested extensively for sources like bacteria, fungi, parasites, and as a last resort autoimmune diseases, all came up negative. After running a fever and with none of the symptoms resolving, medical staff conducted some CT scans that revealed her lung lesions had actually migrated. Months passed and her symptoms escalated. The woman started to become forgetful and had signs of depression. The woman's GP was determined to find an answer. An MRI revealed an unusual glow in her frontal lobe. Initially suspected to be a sign of cancer or an abscess, the medical team was stunned to discover the true culprit. Dr. Harry Priya Bandy, the operating surgeon, saw something unusual inside the folds of the patient's brain. It was moving.
Oh, goodness.
She quickly grabbed the forceps and pulled on it, unearthing the live, pinkish-red worm about 8 centimeters long from where it was lodged in the brain tissue. It continued to move with vigor.
Ugh.
We all felt a bit sick, Bandy later said about the operation. The worm pulled out of the woman's brain was identified as Ophidascaris robertsi, a parasitic roundworm usually hosted by carpet pythons. This incident marked the first documented case of a human infection caused by the parasite.
Oh, how did it get there?
Normally, these infiltrators live out their life cycles between serpents and rodents. Adult roundworms hatch eggs into the snake droppings, which are eaten by rats or possums, who carry the larva that tunnels into their flesh. The pythons then feast on the infected rodents, and the merry-go-round of life continues on.
More like scary go-round.
So how did the woman get infected?
Yes, how?
Probably from eating a salad.
Excuse me, pause. Howard, set a reminder that says don't eat salad and have it repeat every day.
Adding salad to a rational fear database.
The medical team suspects the infection might have started from the accidental consumption of the worm eggs. You see, she foraged salad greens next to her house where the snakes cohabit. Since the eggs probably hatched in her body, she likely didn't wash her salad properly. So how did it get inside her brain? The worm's larva can travel through the body by dissolving tissues, causing significant damage. Following the discovery, the woman was treated with antiparasitic medications. A man missing for 9 years was found on Google Maps. One of the biggest mysteries in a quiet corner of Byron Township in Michigan was the sudden disappearance of Davy Lee Niles. He went missing for 9 years, and it all could have been solved by a glance at Google Maps. Davy was last seen leaving Jake's Bar on October 11, 2006. At the time of disappearance, he was 67 years old and was recently diagnosed with cancer, which led to him showing signs of depression. He was a regular at Jake's Bar and had asked a friend to meet up with him there, but had to leave abruptly, stating being uncomfortable due to his cancer. After leaving, he seemingly vanished without a trace. For years, the search for Davy proved fruitless, and the case ran colder than a Michigan winter. After 5 years later, the family gave up on their relentless search for Davy, having to come to terms with their loss. They published an obituary reading, "Davy Lee Niles, age 72 of Wyoming, passed away, and only God knows the time and place."
Oh no.
Almost a decade after Davy went missing, a Christmas miracle happened with an unlikely discovery.
Oh?
Brian Hausman was high up to hang Christmas lights and decorate the massive tree outside Cook Funeral Home when he noticed something unusual in the pond nearby from his vantage point. Something was submerged in the muddy water, the outline clearly visible from where he was standing. "Whoa, there's a car out there," was his immediate reaction. Hausman quickly called the sheriff's department to notify them about the submerged car. From there, police dove into action and were able to surface the submerged vehicle. They ran identification. It belonged to Davy. A wallet found inside also had his ID, and skeletal remains were sent to be formally identified. Hausman, who found the vehicle, later said that from right next to the pond, no one could ever see it. It was murky and things moved around. Astonishingly, it was later discovered that the submerged car had been clearly visible on Google Maps for many years, if only anyone had been fishing for clues. It was Hausman's unique vantage point that unveiled the clue that had been hiding in plain sight, and the car was towed out of the water shortly after.
Oh, I can even see the tracks.
Bringing an end to a long-standing mystery and offering the grieving family a semblance of closure. Our journey tonight has come to a close. Join us at Mystery Morsels next time as we delve deeper into the unexpected.
Well, Howard, that sure got deep, but I think we learned a lot today.
Such as?
Well, turns out there's so much more out there to be terrified of. I never thought I'd add salads and worms to the list.
Now you know how it feels to watch one of your videos.
Remember, click our link in the description box to play Enlisted for free and get 3 days of premium time, several orders for troops, and weapons as a bonus.